Okay, this week we have fires in Greece, a Toronto shooting attack, and Dick Smith blames Audi. It's the 29th of July 2018, and this is what's going on. There is serious indications of arson in one of several Greek wildfires that have killed more than 80 people this week. Nikos Toska, Deputy Minister for Citizen Protection, said the belief is based on satellite images and ground inspections by police and fire officials at the scene of a deadly blaze that started in the town of Pateli. More than 15 fires broke out in three fronts in the part of the southern Greece on Monday afternoon, according to government spokesperson who described the challenge to firefighters as unprecedentable. More than 80 people lost their lives in the wildfires and has admitted that mistakes were made in the reason of the crisis, that no evacuation order was given and the scale of the fire was underestimated. Vangelis Bornos, mayor of Rafina Pikami, said that although weather conditions, including very strong winds, had helped play a major role, human error was partly to blame for the deaths, citing a lack of warning as well as a long-term problem, including poor urban planning and the impact of public services. Quote, "We might have had less victims with a well-organized evacuation plan, but when the fire began, there was no evacuation order for the eastern part because of the direction of the wind." End quote. But the mayor's also defined the decision to not evacuate and all of the surrounding coastal villages where hundreds of homes were gutted and the blaze tore through the area on Monday. Quote, "Citizens do not follow evacuation plans but stay behind to protect their households. Of course there is anger due to the fact that there are victims, but the same people who are angry now when the evacuation order was issued, they would have still stayed back and tried to protect their houses. So victims would still be there. A small number, but still." End quote. A number of bodies were found in cars close to the sea, however, suggesting that many residents did attempt to flee. Hundreds more made it to the beaches and rocky coastline, some waiting in the sea for hours before being rescued. Dimitris Kalavalis, director of the WWF Greece, which had warned for years of the deadly threat posed by wildfires and often advised local authorities of how to regenerate areas after fires, described the mayor's reasoning as a lame excuse. Quote, "People were trying to leave. People were trying to get out." End quote. Bornas admitted that there was a window of time which an evacuation order could have been issued, but it was missed. By the time the blaze was close, practically there was no evacuation at all. The decision had been made a couple of hours only earlier. Quote, "We could have made better decisions for sure. An accident was waiting to happen." End quote. Bornos admitted also suggests that a lack of coordination in the response was part of the problem in Greece. Quote, "Coordination has always been an issue. We saw in the wildfires of 2007, and the last fire was such a high death toll. Back then we were in the same situation as we're in now. A problem of coordination when the fire breaks out, no evacuation plan, and nobody centrally coordinating." End quote. The geography of Maddie and the surrounding areas is also emerging as a key factor to the high death toll. Many houses were built haphazardly with little regulation to forest areas and therefore extremely vulnerable to fire ripping through the dry woodland, which consisted mainly of highly flammable pine trees. Added to that, roads in the area were narrow and unsuited for large numbers of cars. Quote, "We're talking about a densely populated area that was built without any urban planning. Streets were not designed for such heavy traffic." End quote. 4,000 households and their residents tried to use the street and they couldn't get through. Residents spoke being unable to leave the area by car as the fire approached because of the congestion on the roads. There's photos of burnt out cars, people trying to flee. Burnt out cars with some doors left open, suggesting that they were unable to drive out of the area and decided to flee on foot. Asked if authorities would be more prepared in the future for a similar fire were to hit the area, Bornos stated, quote, "There's nothing left to be burnt now. Nature and houses have been totally destroyed. We are here, committing to rebuild everything the way it was, but now with infrastructure." End quote. Wow, he's a little bit arrogant about it. I suppose he's had a lot of pressure and probably the deaths of the people put on his shoulders. But it seems that there's a couple of factors for this disaster. A lack of firefighting resources, Definitely a lack of a sufficient plan, and the layout of the area doesn't help as well, with houses being so close to trees and all burning down. Well, they've basically got nothing left there anymore. All right, the Toronto shooting. The gunman who killed 2 people and injured more than a dozen when he opened fire on a Toronto street has been identified as 29-year-old Fashil Hussain. Hussain killed a 10-year-old girl and an 18-year-old woman and injured 13 others in an attack on a busy restaurant-filled street. Then he decided to exchange gunfire with authorities. It was not known whether he would killed himself or was killed by police. In a statement, Hussain's family said, quote, "He had severe mental health challenges, struggling with psychosis and depression his entire life. While we did our best to seek help for him throughout his struggle and pain, we could never imagine this would be a devastating and destructive end." End quote. The family members said that their hearts were in pieces for the victims. Armed with a handgun, Hussain opened fire on the stretch of Dafford Avenue, filled with restaurants and family-friendly attractions in the city's Greektown neighbourhood. The Special Investigations Units has stated that he walked down the busy avenue shooting. Toronto Police spokeswoman Megan Gray said the victims of the mass shooting include 8 women and girls and 7 men. Quote, "We do not know why this happened, and it's way too early to rule out anything." End quote. The police did not formally identify the women and the girl killed in the shooting spree, but local MP Nathan Erskine-Smith confirmed that 18-year-old victim was Reese Fallon, a recent high school graduate who volunteered for Canada's Liberal Party and was due to attend McMaster's University in the autumn to study nursing. That's a devastating event for Canada. They seem to be having a couple of incidents at the moment. Could have the family of the shooter done more to alert the authorities of his mental health? Possibly, but we don't know. It's just another sad event. All right, Dick Smith. A leading retail analyst says Dick Smith's food business was bound to fail as consumers continue to choose what is best for their wallets and should act as a warning for local food suppliers. Retail analyst Peter Ryan, who has been working as an analyst in the retail sector for almost 40 years, said Dick Smith's announcement that he would shut down his food business was no surprise. Quote, "Every bit of research we put in suggests that although most people say that they'll buy Australian made, 99% of people vote with their wallet and don't do it." End quote. Dick Smith blamed German supermarket giant Aldi's extreme capitalism for the demise of his food business as he announced a closure to avoid bankruptcy. Aldi responded with the claim, stating, quote, "The recognition we have earned as Australia's most trusted brand is a result of our commitment to openness, honesty, and integrity with all our dealings." End quote. Dick Smith has 13 products, including a range of spreads, tomato sauce, and cereals, and it will be phased out in the coming months. Mr. Ryan said that the collapse of Dick Smith's food business should trigger a warning to other Australian companies. Quote, "Unless you have a demonstrative point of difference, the stories like Dick Smith and the string of other retailers that have collapsed are going to become more and more common. I applaud Dick Smith's sentiment, but it was bound to fail. Although I have appreciated his comments about Aldi, Aldi is the scapegoat for a system of low-cost sourcing and global distribution." End quote. The collapse of Dick Smith's food business comes after a string of Australian fashion retailers, some household names such as Autumn, Maggie T, and Esprit, have gone into administration in the past 18 months as combined with online pressures, price warring and consumer indifference adds up. The collapse of Dick Smith's food has also hit suppliers. Adelaide family business Spring Gully Foods has been one of Dick Smith's food's key suppliers for almost a decade, producing fruit spreads, honey and the all too familiar Aussie Mime. For the foreseeable future, it appears that the Spring Gully will maintain Dick Smith's brand legacy if it's viable. Its managing director, Kevin Webb, said that he was working closely with Woolworths and Coles to maintain what Dick's been doing since he founded the company in 1999. Mr. Webb stated also that they would continue to sell the spreads of Dick Smith for another 12 months, then make a decision on the labelling. All right, this is about the competition and people going for a cheap price. That's all it is here. Possibly a change for Dick Smith's brand, or the company trying to become more streamlined for a lower price tag, I'd say that consumers be far more involved in his purchasing. All right, it's the Fast Five time. Here we go. Number one. Police have seized more than $45 million of drugs in a mammoth bust in Sydney's West. Strike Force Sharrock detectives raided a house in South Penrith early hours of July 20th, arresting a 47-year-old man. Shortly after, investigators executed a search warrant in a nearby home, finding 100 kilograms of illicit drugs, 85 kilograms of methamphetamine, which is ice, 13 kilos of cocaine, and 2 kilos of MDMA. The drugs have an estimated street value of more than $45 million. The man has been charged with 3 counts of large commercial drug supply and refused bail. He will reappear at Penrith local court in September. Number 2, Fairfax and Nine have announced that they'll be merging to create a new media giant. The Fairfax name will be ditched and the two will combine under the Nine name to create and broadcast content across television, radio and online. Nine and Fairfax are positioning themselves to remain profitable in a world increasingly dominated by digital media. Nine will become the majority owner and run the company. Both it and its shareholders will benefit from the effective takeover of Fairfax's most lucrative assets. It still needs to be approved from the ACCC and its shareholders. Number 3, London. 5 men have been charged by police in Britain after an acid attack. Acid was thrown on a 3-year-old boy, leaving him with serious burns. The incident occurred at a home goods store in the city of Worcester, about 100 miles northwest of London, at about 2:15 p.m. local time on Saturday. Police said it was a deliberate attack, with the men ages 41 to 22 were charged with conspiracy to commit grievous bodily harm and were due to appear in court on Wednesday. West Mercia Police, which covers Worcester, stated that they were not releasing their names for legal reasons. All right, number 4, an earthquake measuring almost 4.0 on the Richter scale has been recorded in central west New South Wales. The 3.8 magnitude quake originated near the Cadia Ridgeway gold mine south of Orange around 12:46 on Sunday. It's estimated the quake could have been felt by people up to 50 kilometres away from its epicenter. Number 5, professional Call of Duty player Douglas "Face Sensor" Martin dumped his weather presenter girlfriend Yannick Garcia to spend more time on video games. Announcing the decision on YouTube, the 23-year-old revealed that he and Garcia, 26, had split up, stating, "I don't have time for a girlfriend." He went on to say that he needed to focus on playing Call of Duty and will be playing the next part of the franchise, which is Black Ops 4, full-time while she was doing her job over there. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alright guys, that's it for the weekly news review. If you've liked this, please leave a like. If you really like it, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell. This will also let you know of upcoming videos and specials. If you want to contact me, please contact me on wgoadamelder@gmail.com or Facebook or Twitter or the comments in YouTube. Till next time, enjoy yourself.